1, 2, 3. Welcome
to
the
Zen
Podcast. I'm Zen.
And I'm Roman, and this is the
Zen Podcast.
Yes, it is.
All right, so we took turns today because we couldn't decide who was going to do it.
Anyway, so we are here today to... What are we doing, Zen? We're here today to fucking talk shit because that's what we love to do.
So, you're too young to be in this conversation, but...
Porn is amazing anyway. I don't care.
Wrong conversation.
Oh. Well.
Anyways, wrong. So I was always under the impression that if you don't vote, you cannot talk shit about politics.
But listen to me here. Hear me out here. I can't vote.
That's why I said you're not old enough for this conversation.
What happens in this election? I'm 17. So what happens is going to fucking affect me in a few months, which sucks. So I can complain because I didn't get to vote. That's the thing.
So what you're telling me,
that I didn't get to vote.
What you're telling me is that we should change the voting age to 13?
Fuck no.
Just have a bunch of 13-year-olds out here voting.
No.
Getting into politics.
You're like, no, my mom said that, this person is qualified. So that's all I'm going to vote for. Like, no, dude. What do you
see moms with their kids in line just.
Like, you ready to vote, son? Like, Mom, why are you...
Do you even think 8? I mean, I guess 18 is, when people start getting into college and start thinking about shit. But like,
but it's not even. I think it should be 16.
I don't know.
I had some pretty sharp opinions at 16.
Boy, you barely have strong opinions now.
What are you talking?
You be having like when you fill up a cup and like you drink it. No. You know when you have a soda.
I don't drink soda.
You know when you have a beverage of some sort. And you're like drinking it, and then the last bit's that little mouthwash. I mean, like that little backwash, sort of like
mouthwash.
Tiny little sliver of liquid.
Okay,
that's how deep that's how deep your opinions are right now.
Shut the fuck up.
So imagine before.
Shut the fuck up.
Having some flat ass opinions, talking about sharp ass opinions.
Dog, I
it's like whenever
I wouldn't necessarily say that my opinion is entirely valid right now, but I would definitely say that it serves it serves its purpose in society. I mean, for at least kids my age, if I think I have the ability in terms of the way I can talk compared to the kids my age. A lot of kids are fucking stupid, like I definitely think I wouldn't say I'm qualified, but I would say that I have the ability to influence opinions. If I were to talk to somebody with an opposing opinion of mine.
So do you think there's that debate? Do you think
I would be able to have a solid debate with them?
Do you think that everyone deserves a voice?
Yes. I think shit. Everyone deserves a voice.
Everyone.
Listen, I think that everyone,
even the Karens, the K words,
they would shit on my opinion. Why? I mean, okay. Everybody deserves. It's the First Amendment right to have a freedom of speech, right? Or right? Yes. Okay. So
I don't know about that one.
Freedom of speech.
That, but go ahead.
Freedom of speech is the First Amendment right. Correct? Yes. So everyone should be able to exercise their First Amendment right.
People in America don't be exercising, dog. I don't know why you out here thinking that all of a sudden when it comes to speech, we're going to be all of a sudden exercising.
Shut the fuck up, dog.
I'm just saying, like, if you think about it, we don't be exercising in general. Why the fuck should we be exercising our rights?
But I be exercising so I can exercise my First Amendment right.
Yo, what if that's the new rule?
Unless your dumbass be exercising,
you can't exercise your rights if you don't exercise.
Dog, I'm
like talking to myself. Like I don't be exercising nearly as much.
You be exercising, but just not a lot.
Not a lot. My mouth be exercising a lot.
What are you talking about?
With all the fucking talking I be trying to do.
I thought you were talking about eating pussy. Anyway,
it would be funny because if you really think about it could be like sucking dick from like the first initially.
For me, it was I interpreted it as eating pussy because
what if they said, all right, it's a free country, but in order to exercise your right of freedom of speech, you got to exercise what that mouth can do on this dick first. And that's what it was. It's like you do have freedom.
Well, that's like what
but one time you have to suck dick.
That's literally what they do on the fucking media platforms. Have you seen the movie Bombshell? The movie Bombshell, it was like, y'all, you ladies want to come on Fox News? All right, well, you're gonna have to blow me, you lady. You have to blow me so you can be a journalist. A fucking journalist, somebody who doesn't even get on the fucking news or any of the.
So what
TV
you're saying is
shit.
that Tommy learned how to be out here sucking dick, sucking that cock.
For Houstonians, Coco Diaz. Fuck yeah, dude.
Why for Houstonians?
Houston, that's the fucking Zen. Are you serious?
What?
That's the one of the main newscasters for Houston.
Really?
Yeah, Coco Diaz, or what's her name? Coco Dominguez.
Okay, you threw me the fuck off because Coco Diaz, you're making me think of Joey Diaz.
No,
because he's Joey Coco Diaz.
Coco
So I was like, and he's
Dominguez.
from LA, except he's moving. So I'm like, that's not fucking
Where's he moving?
Houstonians. I mean, I don't know, but apparently he's moving.
You can't just say he's moving and not know where the fuck he's gonna move.
Because I don't think he's stopping the podcast.
Is he stopping?
He's stopping his podcast, and I've just heard it in other podcasts when they're talking about people moving from LA, and they're saying Joey's moving, but they're not saying where he's moving.
Out of LA right now?
So
is it the fires?
it's everything, and I'll explain. It's kind of like I had a friend ask me the other day when I was telling him about us building all of this and really trying to kind of flourish with this, and what he asked me was, "Are you thinking about trying to like?"
We're just fucking at you. You didn't see what even just fucking happened.
You almost dropped it.
No, I was way too close to my fucking mic. And then, which, I mean, I should raise the gain on this motherfucker. But, what's it called? I was way too close to the mic. And I was checking to see how far I was from the mic. And I went, and look, I was sucking a dick.
Yo, it did look like you were sucking a dick just now. But
that's kind of gay.
So
Anyway.
think about this. So Texas doesn't have a state tax. We just have federal
Really?
taxes. We just have federal taxes. We don't have to pay a state tax.
Shit, I had no clue.
So when you're thinking about the fact that you're paying all these taxes in these cities. So a friend asked me, are you thinking about moving to LA or New York or any of those places? And I'm like, all right, so here's my thing about that is first, there's already a scene over there, which now seems like it's falling apart. There's a scene of podcasters, and there's
in
a
LA
scene.
it is. And New York is still going strong. The comedy scene in New York is still going strong. It always has been.
Well, the problem is it's not because you can't. Here's the thing. These places aren't opening up. They're not opening up their clubs. They're not opening up
They
a lot.
recently did in New York. There's been.
It's been difficult. They've been having to do a bunch of outdoor shit.
Yeah,
There's
they
been a
have, like,
bunch
the
of
whole,
like it's super difficult because if you think about
New
the
York
way
right
the
now
way you
is
make the
like-
money.
New York right now is.
I'm making a point.
Okay.
The way you make the
What?
money, it's not feasible anymore. It's just not the right circumstance anymore. And the problem is because everything's opening super slowly, because they're not letting enough people be in there, you're paying taxes for the fact that you get to go to these things, do these things, go to these places, go to these parks, go do these things. And the problem is none of those things are open. So what the fuck are you paying these taxes for?
Literally nothing.
So now you're paying all these taxes on all this money that you're not even really making right now for shit you can't use.
You can't take advantage of the
So
public.
yeah, you're not. So what do people go to New York and LA for? They go for the community people, all the people working, all the people doing this because it helps your career.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
if all that shit shut down and they're always having to do these other things and it's just people talking to your agents and then you go to a show, you can do that shit from anywhere. You can be anywhere and they'll be like, hey, let's schedule this show for this day. It's here. You're flying to places all the time anyway. Okay, I'll just fly there
Yeah.
and then
exactly.
just do a
But
show.
here's the
So
thing.
you have Rogan making all this money, not wanting to pay all those fucking taxes for shit he can't use. She's like, fuck it, I'm going to go to Austin. With the amount of money that I'm going to be investing into whatever this place is, I can get a way better place in Austin. And yeah, it's going to be expensive because Austin's expensive, but not like LA expensive.
Fuck
and
no.
you're not dealing with state tax. So many people are just realizing, hey, I don't need to be here.
So
I
why
could be
here?
anywhere.
Yeah.
So that's why people are kind of like, yeah, you
And
know
people
what?
are
I'm
realizing
over
that
this.
right now through the corona and shit. Like
That's mainly why.
Why do we need to be at fucking work? Why do we need to be at school when we could just do all this shit digitally and it's just as effective? It works just as well. I'm being educated just as well, and I'm doing my job just as what, like I said, just as well as I would be doing it if I were at my office or so on and so forth. Right? I mean, obviously, there's like the essential personnel that we have to do things like. You're in fire service, I'm in IT. We have to go to job sites and physically do things sometimes, right?
Yeah, we have to actually do the work.
we have hands-on.
But all the administrative people and anyone who's just making decisions behind the scene can be home, and it's not a big deal anymore.
And also people who are like in terms of my line of work, people who are doing stuff like if somebody's going to repair your computer or like install a different software on your computer, they can just remote in. They don't need to be there. They don't need to be there on the computer being right next to you, because if someone's on your computer, you're going to be looking over their shoulder. Obviously, they're on your computer, all your personal shit's on there, right? So you're going to be in the fucking room with them. Why do we even need to be there? We can just remote in. There's this thing called a team viewer number. You go, it's down in the corner of your computer, you press it, you give the person a call, say this is my team viewer number, and you log on. You don't even need to be in the same room as the person. You can just remote in. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So it's just completely you avoid the contact situation. And I think this is going to teach us in the future that we don't need to, a lot of times the problem is like with overly populated cities like New York, where the fuck are we going to build more buildings, right?
Well, they just build up.
Yeah.
They just build up. But the thing is it's just no longer as feasible. And my thing also now is, and this was even before Rogan coming down here and act and is if we're to that level to where that affects us, but the goal is to get to that level, is to basically like him coming down here is going to revitalize this whole Texas scene of podcasting.
Oh yeah, dude.
Because all these guests are down here, all the people are coming down here. And now when you would go to LA, you would make the run. You would make the podcast media run if you're like a comic or anyone trying to do something. So you're going to go through and you're going to do Rogan, then you're going to do Fighter and the Kid, then you're going to do all these other podcasts in the circuit. If all those podcasts are starting to go away,
if you're a comic, you're going to do a show at the Comedy Store.
Exactly. You're going to go through those clubs. But if Rogan starts building the comedy scene in Austin because he needs a place that he's going to be working out at, that he's at all the time, and he calls home like the Comedy Store.
He is on it.
I'm talking.
You said where he works out.
His bits.
Oh yeah.
Like works out his material.
I'm sure there's fucking comedy clubs in
there
Austin
is, but I heard that the like big ones probably like it's actually struggling a lot. But people are talking about like it would only make sense for like Rogan to just probably like just pay them the money for them to keep it open because he's like, this is the place I'm going to be at. So I mean, like that's the kind of thing that I think we're going to start building. And since we're from Houston, we're not far away from Austin. You know what I mean?
Away, not even.
And that's like the Texas Hollywood now, like Southern Hollywood or whatever the fuck. And I just think that promoting Houston and building Houston as a scene that connects to that, as a scene where we have other podcasts out of Houston.
Yeah.
And it'd just be really cool to kind of like partner with people, get into the whole space of things and really build Houston up, as opposed to just being like, all right, we're starting to pop up. Let's go to wherever the fuck everyone else is.
Yeah, exactly. We don't need to be there. As we, like I said, or like we both said, as we see right now, we don't need to be in these places because, I mean, we're getting less for more.
Exactly. And I think that we can tap into the things, tap in to the things that have not been tapped into yet here. Because I think like, if this is oil and shit, LA's tapped out. Like everyone's fucking trying. And the thing is, I think, and I mean, I've only been there a few times, but just kind of like my prejudice of it is I always feel like there's a lot of people there that are not authentic. So the people that are from LA, they're LA, and you know what I mean? But the thing about it is so many people try to go there for opportunity that if you went all the way over there for opportunity, you're like willing to be a piece of shit.
Whatever the fuck it takes to get that opportunity.
Whether it's being a piece of shit, whether it's step on other people. So you come across a lot of disingenuous type of people.
Yes, sir.
When you're just trying to just like someone that you think might be a friend or something, then you found out, oh, well, they were just trying to find out if I had these sort of connections. And once they've tapped and realized I'm not worth it to them in this way, then like, that's it. And so those are the things that I think you have to worry about in those types of like metroplexes and stuff like that.
Yeah, dude.
And Houston has a lot of like, Houston can be, I don't even feel like Houston can be like super crazy. We do have a lot of Southern hospitality here. We have like,
yes,
people are people, and people can be any kind of way. But as a culture,
you can get pieces of shit anywhere in the fucking world.
But as a culture, I just think we're friendlier.
Yeah, I agree with you, dude. I definitely agree with you because, like you said, it's like the Southern hospitality type of situation, and like it's just I don't know what it is. People are assholes here too. Obviously, there's a bunch of fucking racists everywhere. It's Texas, but like, you know, it's just like you said, there's gonna be shitty people everywhere. There's going to be shitty people everywhere in the fucking world. And I mean, you just got to, it's all on who you meet and who you talk to and stuff. And Houston has a bunch of nice people. I mean, I hardly have ever had experiences where I've just been in a shitty situation with somebody.
Yeah, like you definitely, of course, can get
there's
people
shit,
that
like we said, there's shitty people everywhere. But for the most part, people in Texas overall are just, they're good peoples.
Yeah, so I think that you get that here. You also just get a lot of more information, education. You're in and around like the Space Center, and you're around the medical center, and you're at this epicenter of kind of like where progress should be made. Speaking of that, I'm about to pivot because I've been reading a lot about this bullshit that everyone's just talking mad shit on Houston for, like, I guess how we've handled, like, so basically our COVID response plan was to ignore until it's too late. So what everyone's basically saying, and I'm kind of just reading it off this Bloomberg Business Week article, okay? So Houston had an all-American pandemic response. Ignore until it's too late. The city knows about disasters. It's got a world-renowned medical center. It saw what happened in New York, and it still couldn't stop COVID-19. So it's Friday night in Houston, 9:30, 102 degrees Fahrenheit, 90 degrees humidity. And the patio at Flavor Restaurant and Bar is packed. Friends are sucking on hookahs. Waitresses hustle by in booty shorts. Someone climbs on a picnic table to twerk. The place looks over capacity. Okay? So Houston COVID Task Force Chief Keith Kennedy knows it. And judging from the expression on his face when Kennedy rolls down his tinted windows, the valet knows it too. In the rearview mirror, I watch the valet hustle over the bouncer who calls Watson over by his perch on a rail side beside the DJ. By the time Kennedy, who's also the chief arson investigator for the Houston Fire Department, has parked and made his way to the entrance, Watson is outside with the blue light folder spread open on the hood of a matte black Jeep Wrangler. Okay, so basically, you're seeing
it's mad shade.
But this is like big. So pretty much what I'm seeing about everything is like, so first of all, Miss Hidalgo, aka Dora the Explorer, had been trying to like tell us a lot of shit, and we're blowing her the fuck off. Let's just get into as us being from Houston, and I kind of have seen how we've been handling the COVID-19 shit.
Yeah.
Like, I've been seeing everyone talk shit about Hidalgo.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone being like, bitch, shut the fuck up. We don't want to hear about y'all saying this and this and this. And the reason for it is because Texas wants to make money. Houston wants to make money. It is an economic boom spot.
A lot of times businesses, and our dad donated to one business in particular that's a historic business in Houston. It's the Big Easy, and it's like a bar and club. It's a blues and jazz bar and club, right? Donated to the effort to keep the place open because these places aren't making any money, and
it is fucking us. It is really, and people are having these. People are having these internal struggles with themselves on whether they think it's worth it. And I know it sucks to end up, because what ends up having to be the thing is it's lives over money, right? And that's what we're essentially fighting. It's the economy or lives.
That's what people think it is. But listen, in Japan, they were just fucking around and doing all the same shit, right? They were let's keep the economy open, is what they said. Let's keep the economy open, but we have to be strict on the masks. We have to be strict on all of the policies that are set in place to keep you healthy and safe. They didn't close their economy at all. People are still flying. People are still going to work. People are still going out to eat. People are still doing this, that, and the third. But keep the fucking masks on. And that's what I think we should do here. Keep the fucking masks on.
Well, it is to that point, but like, what is it doing? Where like, I don't...
Listen.
When I'm seeing Houston, I'm seeing a lot of dumb shit. And what I mean by that is like, we're doing things for the sake of what we think we're doing, what we're supposed to. But it's like, okay, you wear the mask to walk into the door. Is the door the biggest spot where you can catch it? Because the second you're in the door, we fucking rip the mask off.
When?
So
what do you mean?
Anytime you're at a restaurant, if you go to a restaurant right now in Houston, you put a mask on, you walk in, you sit down, they give you some water, you take the mask off. It's like you sit down and you take the mask off. You get up and you put the mask back on. It's like, what are you really doing? Like, you're still in this area. People are breathing. People are doing all this stuff. I don't see how that's really helping or what it's really doing. I do get that the 6 feet separation between the tables and all that kind of stuff is helping.
It helps.
But it's like Houston never really seemed to have taken anything super, super serious.
Well, I think they should have we should have enforced, as a city, we should have enforced the no dine-in policy for longer. I think that like the takeout thing was nice. It was fine. I like, because a lot of the places that I go to, personally, I'm not going to just to enjoy the environment. I'm going to eat the food. The food is good.
Yeah.
Green Seed, Kenny's.
But with all these things, so a lot of people want that feeling of an outing. I noticed it too, because I get you. I don't really care too much about sitting down at a place, because then I start getting anxious. It's just a me thing when I'm out in public like that.
Yeah.
And especially even more.
I'd much rather prefer to eat in my car.
Especially even more so now with all the pandemic stuff. But there's certain places where you feel that if you don't eat it there, it's not nearly as fresh and it's not nearly as good and almost not even worth it.
Like what?
Like, just, I mean, if I'm talking just like base level shit, like trying to take Chili's home ain't the same.
No, it's not.
Trying to take Olive Garden home ain't the same.
That was the first thing that came into my head, is Olive Garden.
You know, it's like, I mean, when you do the take home things, it's like, you know, whenever you get like the buy one, get one, when you have that one there, you're like, holy shit. When you go home and you have it, you're like, this is good, but it's not
what I got at the restaurant.
Exactly. It just doesn't feel the same.
It's the vibe of the restaurant.
It is. It's the vibe of where you're at. It's the vibe of like everything.
Maggiano's. When you go to Maggiano's and you take one home, you're just like, well, it's not.
Then you have to unpack it. Then you have to like prep the salad the way you want. Then you have to hope you have Parmesan to put it on there and it's not as freshly grated as theirs. But you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, there's just a lot of shit where I get it.
There's a variety of factors to it.
And I get it. But the thing about it is, this point is like, there is, I mean, because I know it's all the economy, but there's just these things where Houston never really grasped. We're not, okay, so the big cities are blue and stuff, but because we're a big ass state with a lot of conservative people.
Oh, yeah, you drive.
We're not having the same sort of like regulations and stipulations that places like LA and New York had. And that's why they're leaving there and being like, you know what? Texas ain't going to tell us shit. That's where we're going. That's why we're going to Texas, which is another thing too, is we are getting a lot of people that are like, man, fuck all y'all's mask shit. Fuck all y'all's weird ass bullshit. We're going to Texas where they won't tell us shit.
And it's like, whoa, what the fuck? What are you guys doing?
And now we're over here being like, hey, yo, like, we wish they were saying shit. Sometimes it's like,
because
yo.
we're still, and it doesn't seem like it, because just recently they were like, yeah, you guys can go back to 75% capacity in your establishments, correct? So they said that we can go back to 75% capacity in our establishments, but why do I still drive by on the freeway and see that big sign that says Houston is on code red?
Yeah, we are. And no one's really
giving a fuck.
And that's one thing that I don't know. We're going to have to see what ends up happening. If we end up being one of the last states, that we're going to learn when it comes down to everyone else being able to open and us still not being able to.
Yeah.
Or like us not being able to fully have like concerts like we would want to, or things that we want. But the thing is, we've just been kind of doing
every other person has recovered and we have not, as our local economy, because there obviously, you know, there's different levels of the economy and the, you know, the whole political regime of the United States, right? You have your local, you have your states, and you have your federal. When we see that our state, because it's not just our local, it's not. But
we're gonna get into that in a little bit. We're gonna take a little break. We need to take a break. We'll be right back, and we'll get back into this. And we have some other things that we need to get into. It's too goddamn early in the morning for me to be trying to fucking
put all this shit together in your head.
Not even that, but just fucking think about how fucked up the whole world is, but mainly where the fuck we're at right now. But we're gonna get into it in a little bit and close off on that and get into some other things. But just we'll be right back with y'all.
We are back from our intermission.
Yo, I'm getting mad irritated by all this shit. Like, in general, just kind of seeing how like not even just the fact that our city's being portrayed so badly, but just the fact that our city puts us in a situation to be portrayed badly, and our state for just like. So I'm gonna use this to segue into like this debate shit, and I only want to say that only because I'm hearing all this shit about like the governor taking away like the mail-in ballot places.
No fucking way.
Yeah, like pretty much after this whole debate and stuff like that, and everyone's like, yo, it's cool, like you can mail in ballot. I'm hearing all this information about our governor taking away our ballot boxes and shit, like all the mail in ballot places and all this kind of shit where it's like, yo, what do they want us to do? I'm gonna get into what. So first of all, Biden and Trump did their debate.
That fucking shit show.
So I was wondering if I even fucking wanted to watch it, right? I was like, should I even?
We're talking about this on the phone.
I was like, should I even entertain this fucking debate, or should I just treat it like I do most basketball games and watch the highlights?
Yeah. Which is how a lot of people were thinking. That's the mentality that a lot of people went into.
So I'm just like, okay, I don't feel like wasting my time on this shit. I really don't feel like seeing all the stuff they're going to say.
Of children basically arguing.
So I said, I'll watch the highlights maybe. I was editing one of the podcasts and stuff. Alicia comes in and says, hey, you don't need to wait for the highlights tomorrow. The fucking internet is going wild right now. Oh my God, and I'm like, what? And so she's watching it live on her phone, and I'm starting to see, like, just hearing how they're fucking bickering, hearing how they're, like, how Trump's just talking over Biden, hearing how Biden's having to, like, say this, it's just a fucking shit show.
Trump's cabinet was like, yeah, we will give each candidate at certain points within the debate 2 minutes of uninterrupted discussion or rambling or whatever the fuck you want to call it, right? Trump wouldn't even give Biden that. Biden was like, you know, just sitting there like a fucking, you know, he can barely put a sentence together, so he's not going to try to talk over him, right? So he's sitting there and just listening. He's like, you know, taking in all this bullshit. Biden starts to talk, and then Trump just starts interrupting him and talking over him. And I think the only time that Biden started to talk over Trump is, and I don't even think it was right away, is when Trump started talking shit about his sons, about Biden's sons.
Which at that point, all he was saying was not true, which is a smart move just to brush away all that stuff. And now we're just, you know, talking about something, if something's even valid, as opposed to actually having to discuss it.
That actually worked out in Biden's favor for a lot of it, because of the fact that it was like, well, my son, one of my sons died in war, right? In like, while being in the military. And then the one who has a drug problem because of being in the military, right? So that's like kind of, first of all, shining light on the mental health issues that can stem from being in the military, things that we are trying to fund.
But the thing about it is, honestly, Biden's more of the candidate that will send us to war over oil and stuff like that. That's more of the Obama administration type of plan, which is one of these weird things where there's all those back and forths too, because it's like policy-wise for war, Trump has different policies that don't necessarily put us in the same positions that Joe Biden did. And the problem is we're in a lot of these situations where people are looking at this not for policy, not for what it did for the country, but by literal just like identity politics. So you're looking at like Obama was black and we felt like that was progress in this country. And that's all we're looking at. We're not looking at what it is he put in, what policies he put in, what he did.
Exactly.
We're just looking at that. And then we're looking at Trump. And this is the reason why I always say, no matter what people complain about with the policies, I mean, argue about how Trump's policy isn't bad in this, or Trump's policy isn't bad in this, and how this actually worked in this. I just make them look at the fact that regardless on how that's affecting that business portion of it, you have to realize his divisiveness in himself and the way, the rhetoric that he uses to our country in a time period where we're at right now is dividing us. Yes. Regardless, it is dividing the country, and it's making us be against each other. And it's like, that itself is the biggest issue, because his divisiveness is what's getting us to this place.
And things like this were predicted since Washington. Since George fucking Washington, dude. He said, avoid political parties. I'm putting this in layman's terms. He said it obviously differently. I'm not going to quote him. But he said, I advise you to, at all costs, avoid political parties. Because, yes, voting is nice, and, but you can vote on officials. You can elect your officials and executive hierarchy through different means than political parties, because all it's going to do is divide us as a country. And what happened way back when? Political parties. Then what happened? The Confederacy.
Yeah, I mean, I do think the next step is a civil war. I do think that if
whether it be army of one versus army of another, Union, Confederacy type of situation, or it be things like
us versus the military, or us versus the police
like
force.
Basically martial law.
And that's where we just get into this weird place where we have to figure out what we want, where we stand, what's going on. And it's like, that's my big thing, is it's just so divisive. And one thing is, like, Trump's not dumb. Like, he knows exactly how to, like, so of course, the second he gets hit with the tax thing, right? So he paid $750 in taxes, right?
Prepared for that shit.
Why did what was up with that tax shit? Trump just goes straight up. Oh, well, I was able to do that because of the laws Obama set into place. Obama set laws in place for taxes that help people like me and businesses like me. And because of that, I was able to take advantage of that because of your administration. And at that point, that's literally
what is Biden going to say?
Biden just, okay.
What is Biden going to say?
Yeah.
What else is he going to say? Nothing.
Things that Biden a lot of times was in charge of. Biden was in charge of taking care of a lot of shit under the administration. He knows what's going on. It's also funny to me because one thing that gets on my nerves about Biden, I'm not really like looking forward to either of these candidates 100% right now, like in general. And I just hate Trump's divisiveness. And I just can't deal with the fact that like he can't just say, hey, we don't fuck with white supremacy. Stand back and stand by.
He won't, dude. He won't fucking
saw that
say it.
tweet was like, denounce your hoes. Hoes. Stand back, but stand by.
Exactly.
Imagine
like, but listen. He won't. What's it called? Condemn them?
Condemn, yeah.
He won't condemn them for their wrongdoings because they're his fucking supporters. His strongest supporters are the white supremacists and the strong right. It's just it's like telling me like, or it's like saying like, do not, you fucking people who are bad people listening to our podcast, do not listen to our podcast. Why would we say that? Why would he say although he should, he won't?
Well, because anybody who's on his side, he's going to ride for them. That's why when the whole Goya thing happened, he said, hey, yo, we're going to make sure y'all are good. We're going to make sure that we keep on pressing everyone, go shop for Goya. But a president shouldn't be promoting like his own personal interest of what's going to benefit him to the people because it's a conflict of interest.
Well, that's a problem that we've been facing in general. We are not getting we're not getting candidates anymore that care about our country, or at least the ones that are getting up there. We're getting candidates that care about themselves or about their supporters.
And then the people that we believe actually care for the country end up getting out by way of the system that's set up to kind of like get them out. Same thing with like Bernie.
Beto and Bernie. Both people. Well,
yeah.
I don't want to go into all that.
I don't want to get into all that. But
those people were people that genuinely cared for the well-being of our country as a whole, not just their supporters. And we're at a fork in the road here where we have to pick one piece of shit or the other one,
I mean, that's the same way that I felt back in 2016 when it was like Trump and Hillary and shit.
Exactly.
And it's just to the point where nothing feels super inspiring. Nothing feels like, oh shit, that's the person I want running our country. Right now, it just looks like
we haven't had that since the fucking 90s, dude.
Like now we're looking around and it's kind of like
not even the 90s. We had a fucking bunch of idiots in the 90s since like the 80s.
I'm just at this place where I'm like, yo, I'm really hoping none of the rest of the world saw this debate. Like, I'm just like, yo, this was just in here, right? Like, we can just keep this amongst ourselves. Like, we can't. The problem is now it's just so fucked up. It just makes us look bad in a global scale, in my opinion.
Sarah says that she has a friend in London that she was talking to, right? And she's like, the rest of the world is laughing at y'all's leader right now.
Yeah, I mean,
It's just like,
when Ryan was in China, he would say the same thing. People would look at the news and just kind of be like, what the fuck are they like? What the fuck is going on over there? Mind you, I mean, a lot of these countries, it's not like they're really any better. They just are trying to, it's just because we hold ourselves to such a high degree to people, and because we try to control so much
It's
of
like
like the
being
world,
like-
that now they're like, oh, these are the people who are supposed to be leading everything.
yeah, it's like being, yeah, like we're the best team in the fucking NFL, but then you just go completely defeated the entire season.
Yeah, but the thing about it is we're not. Like, it's like we look bad, sure. We're still the leaders in innovation. We're still the leaders in like,
Yes, but it's just,
where's everyone getting like, okay, literally, let's think of New York in general.
we are the culture. We are the culture. in
Harlem
which
itself creating hip hop and how global that's gone.
Yeah. Holy shit.
You know what I
that
mean?
stems from the Harlem Renaissance, but yes.
But you know what I'm saying? Like that whole thing of like, look at the whole world. Look at how music has changed. Music as a whole has changed because of America
It's crazy how
in all genres.
think about how that shit stemmed. How like the shit that we listen to now, it's 2020. Jazz became a big thing in American culture from the Harlem Renaissance in 1920. 100 years later, this is the evolution we've come to, and it's insane. You have like Tin Pan Alley, which was like the biggest jazz, spot in the country, right? Being like the center of it all. And it was the black people too. They were like,
That's why they would say that they
doing
built
all the
America.
jazz, they built American culture.
Yeah.
The
I mean,
American culture that we know now, they built that shit. And they still to this fucking day, don't get the credit that they deserve.
and it's a mix, and it's definitely a mix. And I'll say this because the thing that I will give white people, I guess, some sort of credit for, and it's only dirty white people, is like skating, right?
Mhm.
And then definitely like the streetness of skating. So you have like the suburban skating, but then you had like the white kids in the street skating, but then you also had a lot of minority skating, and you had a lot
As you
of
saw in the mid-90s movie.
yeah, and then you see hip hop from the streets and skating from the streets kind of collide and mix
Come
together.
when you get
and
brands
that's when
like,
you really get
brands like Supreme.
yeah, that's when you
and
really
stuff
get
like
the
that.
street world boom, streetwear boom, which then ends up going into the high fashion class, and now it's changed fashion as we know it.
It's changed fashion. It's changed music. The entire culture has just been brought up from the roots, right?
Yeah, I mean it's
insane, dude. It's absolutely insane. And the people who started it all still don't get the fucking credit they deserve to this day, dude. And it's baffling. It's absolutely baffling.
so. I mean, you can't vote, but this whole thing, I mean, Biden looked better than I thought Biden was going to look.
Oh, yeah.
And he held himself together better than I thought he was going to.
Mm-hmm.
And Trump just like,
Was a child.
I
A
mean,
fucking child. Basically, was like the mediator, right? Or the mediator?
Christopher Wallace or whatever his name is.
Yeah. Was like you keep talking over him. Stop talking over him, basically, is what he was telling him, right?
Like to
And
the
he's
point
like-
where Biden said to be like, can you just shut up, man?
Yeah, but he's like, you keep talking over him. He's like, well, he talked over me. He's like, well, he talked over me too. He's like, yes, but you're doing it a lot more. He's like, but he did it too. He's being a fucking child. Like, what the fuck? I'm sorry, Bella. It's like, what the hell, dude? Like, that's our fucking president, our current president right now. Our president, as of currently, was saying that shit. Was literally being a child. He's literally being a fucking child. We're being led by somebody with the childlike mentality. And I mean, shit, dude. I don't fucking know. What's the solution? Well, matter of fact, we do have a solution.
What?
Motherfuckers got COVID.
Yeah. Should we just,
He's old as fuck.
could we just try one term to just like govern ourselves somehow? Can we just try
I
for
feel
one
like-
term and be like, yo, hey, we're gonna
Would that,
absentee this whole thing? We're not
would that
really.
lead to? Would that lead to unity or anarchy?
I think it would be anarchy first, then unity.
It'd be like, yeah, so it'd be like anarchy, and then we'd be like, all right, guys, we got it.
We're like, hey, yo, we're fucking going
we have,
crazy. We're
like,
gonna tear each
we
other
got
apart.
Somebody like Rick Grimes come in this motherfucker and be like, yo, we got to chill.
Well, that's the problem. Is why do we always need an adult? Can we not just like be our own people? That's the thing. Is it always seems like we need an adult in the room to be like, hey, someone tell us if we're doing this all right.
I think Morgan Freeman should be president.
That'd be sick. He could just like narrate every morning. For speaking of, that's what we actually kind of have to talk a little bit about.
What?
A long-awaited project dropped. Savage Mode 2. 21 Savage project. Everyone was waiting for this for a long time.
I have not listened to it. It just came out yesterday.
I haven't listened to a lot of it. The Drake song, I'm not going to lie, that I guess was highly anticipated. Not feeling it. Not
No?
feeling it at all,
Did
really.
it suck or what?
People aren't saying that, so it must be good to people, but I didn't like it. I think it's the beat. The beat's
You
just
have a
throwing me
different-
off.
You have a different opinion than most people.
Yeah, so I mean, the beat was just not it for me. That running song's hard, but the best part about it was just how it came about. So everyone's like, "Yo, when's this coming out? When's this coming out? We've been waiting. When's this coming out? When's this coming out?" Right? So then, a trailer drops. So the thing about it is, Metro Boomin and 21 Savage back at it again.
Mm-hmm.
21 Savage and Metro Boomin together, hardest hits. So you got them in the trailer. Morgan Freeman is narrating the trailer.
No fuck.
So just imagine Morgan when you go into Savage mode.
God.
It is a moment of savagery, or like just whatever he was saying, but it's Morgan Freeman narrating the 21 Savage Metro Boomin album trailer. For one, you know that shit's gonna go hard as fuck when there's a trailer for the album. Other one that had a trailer for the album, Astroworld. Astroworld had a trailer for the album. Hard album. And then you got
Hard
Savage
album.
Mode 2 with a trailer. It's hard as fuck. Just hearing that running song, you're like, okay, he's in Savage Mode. He's going hard on that shit. Talking about beating people up in the club and shit. Just fucking in.
Just going in on that shit, dude. And like some wop.
You need to watch the video for it. In the video, he basically
I will eventually watch it.
in the video, they show about like when he got that Grammy for A Lot. And then he goes, Metro Boomin brought it to Atlanta. And then you just see the video as them in the hood in Atlanta and everyone's just passing around the Grammy. Like everyone from the streets, all the kids, they're just passing around this Grammy, making phone calls, kind of like just chilling with the Grammy, just partying with the Grammy. Because like 21 Savage is like, look, I did this shit for the A. I did this shit for Atlanta. I'm bringing this shit home. This shit's for y'all.
Takes it back to fucking London, am I right?
But it's hard so far. Like it is hard as shit. And you have Morgan Freeman on that hoe. I saw this picture. You know, it's a picture of Dennis Rodman, Scottie Pippen, and Michael Jordan. And it was like Metro Boomin, 21 Savage, and Morgan Freeman. And I was like, it's the fucking championship team.
The fucking all-stars, dog.
I'm saying.
The greatest.
So just wanted to shout that out. Just wanted to mention a little bit about that because that's been like, whoo, right now. It's been the fucking whoo right now. Woo! So that's been on the list, right? Bryson Tiller put out a project too.
Okay.
Only feature on there is a Drake feature.
Ugh.
That's listed. Drake song's pretty hard, and I was listening to the record, like I just had it play in the background. Here's how I know that a record's good. Because like I'm listening to it and I'm like, what the fuck am I listening to right now? But like in a good way, like, what am I
What
playing?
is this? What's playing?
Like, what's playing? And I click it, I'm like, I'm still on the album. And this threw me off. Like, I was like, this doesn't even seem like this is Bryson Tiller right now. And this is really going hard. And Alicia was like, yeah, I was about to ask the same thing. Like, she sees me clicking. She's like, I was about to ask the same thing. Like, what the fuck's playing? Because like, there's something about it. Like listening to it through, I haven't sat down and been like, this is this song, this is this song, this is this song. But I've been playing it in the background of life since yesterday. And it's been a vibe.
Like make a double take.
It's a vibe. And then when something stands out, it stands out. So far I'm really rocking with these two projects. Megan Thee Stallion and Young Thug put out a song.
Did they?
Yeah. Super like electronic sounding. Like what I mean by that is like the intro is like boom 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 boom.
That's
boom, boom, it's like
is that like experimental-ish?
It's
You know that's what I'm into is like the experimental side of rap.
Yeah, I mean, I think you might like it. We'll see. I mean, because it's
like,
Megan at the end of the day. So, I mean, I know you're not like the biggest fan of Megan unless it's WAP.
I'm not the biggest fan of, but I like Young Thug.
Yeah,
like I think he's one of the most mainstream experimental artists because I definitely would say that Young Thug's way of doing shit is somewhat experimental.
You need to see the video because she has so many different looks in the video that I think are just like hard.
Well, you're just trying to give me a boner. That's basically what you're trying to do.
I'm not even talking about just the ass. I'm talking about the inspiration of like the outfits and the fashion. Don't get me wrong, nice ass. But the looks, it's a nice ass ass.
That's a nice ass ass.
But the outfits and everything like that definitely adds a whole different dimension that I almost think like I heard the song and I was like, it's cool. Saw the video, I'm like, okay, it's better than cool.
Sick as fuck.
Same thing I felt with Running. I heard the song Running and I was like, badass. Saw the video for Running, hyped. So sometimes I think the video really aids you in feeling what they want.
Used to do back in the 90s, dude, with MTV. They would just release the video. Release the fucking video and people are like, holy shit.
But I do need to take one more break real quick, and then we're going to come back and talk about how your president has COVID. And I guess just get into that. So we're going to be right back.
Say my president, motherfucker, not my president.
We're going to be right back, and then we're going to get into some shit. I leave all my cars running. It's just hard.
Welcome back.
Now,
man, motherfucker.
Your president having COVID.
No.
Donald J. Trump and Melania Trump have contracted the COVID-19 virus and are now.
At least we know they be fucking now, you know. Everybody was worried that Trump was gay or that, you know, that it wasn't really a thing. It was just only for presidential purposes. But
I mean, I saw them holding hands in a picture.
Dog, we hold hands. Like, that doesn't mean shit.
That's true.
Son of a bitch. That's so fucking.
All right. So let's just get right into the whole bullshit of it. So basically, Donald Trump and his wife get COVID. Mm-hmm. And then everyone's saying, first I'm hearing, okay, everyone's so happy. Then someone put doubt into my head about what if he's faking it? And then immediately I thought about like, why the fuck would he fake it? And then it just got to me. Okay, if his whole thing is fuck COVID, the shit ain't shit. And he says, look, I'm high risk, I'm fat. He won't even say it, but if people know I'm high risk and I'm fat, if I get COVID, it's not a good thing for me. So if he says, hey, yo, I got COVID, and then everyone's like, what the fuck, damn. And then he's like, yo, I got over this shit in 3 fucking days. You know him. He's going to be like, I got over this shit in 3 fucking days. This ain't shit. We need to get the economy back open. Like, I had COVID and then I used the fucking malaria pill and that shit got me back and I'm good. I'm back. I'm straight. I was high risk. What the fuck y'all got to say now? That's where I'm like, fuck, man, he really could pull some shit like that.
But what if?
Well, I don't think that's the case anymore because he's at the hospital.
What if this shit is legit, and it's just they were like, you got COVID, motherfucker, you got to come out about it. You can't not say shit. It's like, fuck. So he comes out about it.
The guy like comes out, tweets it. He just fucking tweets it.
Then he dies. What if he fucking dies? Then we have that goofy ass motherfucker Mike Pence coming in this bitch.
For a month? How does that work for the campaign? I mean, I don't know. I'm not like a fucking politician. But the thing about it is like now he's in the hospital. And I'm just curious to see what the fuck's going to happen. Because now him and Melania, apparently Melania's been doing great. But the way he said it made it seem like she's doing better than him. Because he said, I'm doing great. Melania's doing marvelous. Like he had said something like,
well, Melania's not fucking fat or extremely old
or orange.
That is a factor too.
I think all the fucking chemical from that spray tan.
Well, maybe because he's orange, oranges have a lot of vitamin C and antioxidants and stuff that helps you not get sick. What if he's so goddamn orange that this won't even affect him?
Yo. When you start saying that spray tanning is the way to cure the coronavirus.
God, dude, everybody would be orange as fuck.
You just see everyone walking around orange as shit.
Like, it wouldn't be white.
It'd be like 20, like what was it, like 2010 when the annoying orange was like the thing?
God damn it, it was 2008.
Why do you know that? Why do you know that so off the top?
Anyway, so
you had the shirt.
Anyway,
you had the you watched all of them. Oh, you watched all the annoying fruits because there was multiple annoying fruits.
Hey Apple. Hey Apple.
Hey Apple. Hey Apple. Hey Apple. Hey Apple.
Orange, you glad I didn't say hey Apple again?
God, and that was right around the.
I actually had
that was the most.
I had an annoying orange plush toy.
That was the most annoying time in YouTube because that's when Fred was a thing too.
Wait, don't shit on Fred. Fred is a fucking badass, dude.
I mean, I'm sure, hopefully he used all the annoying assets to get himself in a good position now. But at the time,
I'm fucking with you.
Holy shit. I mean, he did the Fred movie. I mean, that's a flex, right? To come from YouTube and then get a whole ass movie about your annoying ass personality.
Dude. On fucking Nickelodeon.
Get an entire movie about your annoying ass personality. Or acted personality, whatever the fuck. Because I know that's not actually how Fred is, but.
Dude, that was fucking horrible. Fred. Shit, dude.
Like, just
throw on some motherfucking Fred so we can
reminisce. Back. I mean, thinking back, I remember figuring out what a viral video was for the first time, and I'll tell you what the first viral video of like, why the fuck is everyone talking about this random ass video and it's not like a music video?
What is it?
Charlie bit my finger or Charlie bit me.
Oh, Charlie bit me.
And I was like, wait, why are we all watching this? I'm like, is it scary? Did someone died? Like, why are we all watching this? I was really confused.
That's like, well, it's just funny.
And they're like, oh, no. We all just like it. And then next came like cat videos in general.
Cat videos, yeah.
Like, that's the first time I'm like, oh, we're just watching this cat. Like, it's so weird to remember just how things started sprouting up of like, wait, so everyone's watching this cat for some reason?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah. Why?
Playing the piano, dog.
It's playing the piano, dog.
Yeah.
We're like, what the fuck do you mean?
Like, did we get no? Absolutely, and that's where we have the mind-numbing abyss that is, the comedic side of YouTube.
I mean, because I only knew cable at the time, so I was like, this isn't a show, and I was watching MTV. This isn't a music video.
Exactly.
What the fuck is this?
Just mindless bullshit.
I was like, holy shit, man.
You stupid. No, I'm not. What's now plus 10? 21?
But see, that's Vine. That was the sprout of Vine.
Shit, that's a whole other mindless abyss.
Vine was literally what like taught us that our attention spans were shit. They're like,
our attention
I was actually talking to
smaller than my penis, dude.
I was talking to my boy the other day.
Who?
Gus. And we were talking about like there's two attention spans now. We only like ingest things in like two ways. It's to be like fucking mad short or fucking like 2.5 hours long. Like everyone's either listening to these long ass podcasts, these short ass videos. If I see a video on Twitter and it's 3 minutes, fuck that. I am not watching this 3-minute video on Twitter.
Here's the thing. This is why. Because when you're scrolling through Twitter, you're trying to get, as I explained this to you before, quick dose content. You read the tweet, very small tweet, max 140 words, right? Quick dose content. You see a 7-second video, quick. 3-minute video, fuck that. I'm here for my quick dose content. That's all it is. I signed up for getting on Twitter just right now while taking a shit. Quick dose content. It carries on. You've been there for an hour. Might as well have watched a fucking 1 hour video. Might as well have gone back and watched that fucking 3-minute video because you've been sitting there for an hour taking a shit. You haven't really been taking a shit. You've just been on Twitter, right? Okay. But then you're like, you know what? I'm going to play a podcast. I'm going to sit down and watch a movie, so on and so forth, right? You're signing up. You're signing the waiver, right, at the beginning of your activity in your brain, saying, I'm going to do this thing that is this time consuming. When you get on social media, it's a you're just, I guess, a miscellaneous amount of time that you're going to be spending there. So you don't want to commit to a certain amount of time, because what if you get interrupted? Then boom.
Sometimes I think the thing about podcasts is like, because they're so long and there's so much, you don't have to pay attention to everything, I guess. So like, also, I mean, I watch podcasts sometimes, but for the most part, I'm listening to them.
Me too.
And so I just have it playing in the background of whatever I'm doing in my day working. And the thing about it is, if I know for a fact I like what I'm listening to right now, right? Like I like what I'm listening to, and I'm willing to keep on listening to this for this amount of time.
Yeah.
As opposed to, and I don't have to touch my phone as much. But if I'm playing songs, then that's like 3 to 4 minutes, and then I don't want this one. So then I pull my phone out and keep on switching until I find the one I want. All right. I don't want this one, so let me try this.
Yeah.
Or let me put this album that maybe will, but then I don't want to hear this song. And so then you overanalyze that, and so I'm like, if I just put on this podcast, I'm going to have this amount of audio
for 2 to 4 hours,
and I don't have to change it and find another thing that I want to listen to until this fucking podcast is done.
Exactly. So that's where that comes from.
At least for me.
It's for a lot of people. It's the same thing for me too. It's the same thing for various people that I've talked to. It's a lot of times it's a similar situation. And I mean, it correlates with the attention span situation, because you go in and out of the podcast. I talked to a communications specialist a while back, and he says that the average 15-year-old can only 100% pay undivided attention for 30 seconds. 30 seconds max.
That's crazy. And I wonder if that's been a thing, or if that's like a new thing because of like how we've trained ourselves.
Who knows? But that's what he told. He's a communication.
Do you think ADD is like contagious?
No, but I think that.
You sure? Because I think sometimes I be giving people the ADD.
God damn it. Well, it's because like
mad focused people all of a sudden just no more focus.
Someone showed me this tweet. Don't remember who it was, but it was like talking to somebody with ADHD or ADD and ADHD is like listening to a conversation on shuffle. Like shuffling a playlist and like, what am I going to get? I don't know.
That's fucking a fact. Here's what happens with me, at least.
Do you take your Adderall before these podcasts?
No. I haven't taken my Adderall in like a year.
A year? Just 1 year?
Well, since I had moved up north for that period of time, my doctor was far. And then, so I never really had the chance to come all the fuck the way down here to get my prescription. And then when I did move back down here, COVID hit. So then I just really haven't. So pretty much since that time that I moved up north for a while.
I think, I don't know what the fuck, because we both seriously lack focus.
Well, mine's diagnosed.
And mine is not. But we see it a lot, right?
Yeah.
Whether it be trying to set up the podcast or trying to have just a normal conversation, we both have issues with the whole focus situation. And why the fuck do we have a podcast?
Because at least we go off on tangents for sure, but at least like we're constantly saying something, I guess. I guess that's my thing, is like I just will never not say things for whatever the fuck reason.
We feel like we always have to be talking, or else it's like boring or something.
Yeah, I think in life, like if we're not saying something, then like
we're not talking,
someone needs to have. Yeah, exactly. Something needs to be said.
Exactly.
But I mean, all that to say, we did get off topic again.
I have been able to. Son of a bitch. I have been able to start reading books again.
I can't.
You can't read books?
No, because like what ends up happening, like I don't know if it's just the world that we live in.
It has to be a specific genre of books where it's like I'm having a conversation with the person in my head. Like it's like Notes from the Underground. It's a book that I'm currently reading. It's by Fyodor Dostoevsky, for anybody who wants to read it. It's a good book, and this guy is basically, the whole book is him going off on tangents, right? That's the type of book that somebody with lack of focus should read, because you can stay engaged because you're just kind of bouncing around everywhere, right? Brave New World by Aldous Huxley is another book that you could easily read, because what he does, his style of writing is almost like a movie. Like when you're watching a movie, it'll be like, like this is happening with these people, and then they come to like a slight closing of that problem onto another situation, right? It's just like changing scenes, right? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like a change in scenery or a change in, just what's happening. And that's what happens in Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. You see that a lot in that book because whether it be from chapter to chapter or from sometimes it'll happen from paragraph to from one paragraph to the next.
I have a problem just reading like books in general now. And I don't know if it's just because of like how we're raised now. Like reading my textbook, I can't fucking do it. I'll start reading it, then forget where I'm at and be like, wait, was I here? Or was I at this line? Okay, well, I don't remember that. So now I got to read this whole section again to make sure that I knew what I was reading. And then before I knew it, like I've read this section like 4 fucking times. And that happens to me every single fucking time that I'm reading books.
Mm-hmm.
I can be like reading or trying to look at a quiz or something.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden be like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to Google it real quick. And the second that I Google it, I can read the information really quickly. I can look it up on my phone, see an article, read the information really quickly. But when it comes to a book, to text, I can't fucking do it. I can listen to an audiobook and then really comprehend and understand what it is because I think I'm more auditory.
Either that or kinesthetic.
But I don't think, sometimes, I don't know, because at work a lot of the times.
You learned the audio. You did not learn this shit. All the audio video situation, you learned it hands-on, right?
Not necessarily. Yes and no. I learned it by watching a lot of YouTube videos.
Then that wouldn't be auditory. That'd be visual.
But it's both because I'm hearing what they say. I'm hearing the different, I have to see what I'm looking at. This is a little different because I'm seeing the mics or whatever, seeing the equipment, seeing the kind of things that I need to do. And then that way, when I go and look for it out in the world, I'm like, okay, this is what I saw. And then what I know is usually I hear something. I'll remember something by the fact that I heard that this has this pattern. I heard that this mic is good for this. I heard that this mic is good for this. I heard this and this and that. And I can read text in digital format. But when it comes to a fucking book, it's just like to the point where I'm like, do they have a fucking digital version of this book? Because I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Dude, I could understand that. That's why I was like that for a long time, dude.
And I don't understand why. That's why I don't read books like that. Because I'm like, do I read articles? Sure. I read a lot of articles. I just don't read fucking books.
I dropped English K. I was in English K for the longest.
That was actually the last thing I dropped.
Really?
Yeah.
I dropped English K by choice. I didn't get failed out. I was just like, fuck this shit. Like the next year I was like, I'm not going to be in English K, right? So or for other people from anywhere else's, it's basically AP. Yeah. Because what was happening was like they would assign a book that you would read on your own time, correct?
Yeah.
And then it would be like I would have to read it on my own time, and I couldn't at the time. I couldn't do that. Now I could, but the thing with me is I don't like to be told what to read. I just like to read what I want to read, right? If I buy the book, I'm gonna read it, right? But I just didn't like that whole situation. So I was like, fuck this. And in regular English, they don't make you, in on-level English, they don't make you read the fucking books. If anything, you can listen to the audiobook or the teacher will read it along with us, right? But to devote my own time to it and to the focus and shit is something that I seriously lacked.
And it's just I can't get myself in the right mood for it and all that stuff. But I don't know. I guess that's something that we all have to, me personally, have to try to work on or figure out what is the best way. Or the world can change around me and everything can just be digital. Mm-hmm. And that would be the best.
That would be the best thing.
But yeah, that was today's episode.
We got into a lot of shit and then at the end we kind of just went willy-nilly. But
yeah, Trump's got COVID. We'll see how that goes. We're supposed to have 2 more debates.
Shit.
We'll see how that goes.
Motherfucker.
Still waiting on that Joe Rogan debate. That'd be dope. And I think Joe Rogan after this debate's like, fuck that.
Yeah, he's like, fuck that.
Yeah, y'all got this shit. I'm cool.
I'm gonna be trying to tell them to get away from the mic.
Keep a fist
away from the mic. He's like, yeah, whatever.
Excuse me, Donald, could you?
Donald, could you buy your own mic?
It's like, oh, he's got COVID. We have to test y'all first. COVID. I don't need to get tested. I'm immune now.
Motherfucker.
God, this would be a fucking shit show.
It is going to be a shit show. I don't know what the fuck we're going to do.
Anyways, we'll see you next week.
You guys have a good week.
Yeah.